All right, welcome to Lab 200 of the Container Development Hands-On Lab. In this lab, we were going to assume the persona of our DevOps engineer, Derek, and we're going to access the Oracle Cloud infrastructure, set up a compartment, and then provision a Kubernetes cluster directly to OCI. We're going to do the provisioning using Terraform, and then at the end of the day, all the load balancers, the Kubernetes master, and the networking will be set up for us. So to get started, we're going to go out and open a new tab in our browser, and we're going to navigate to the cloud.oracle.com sign-in page. And then we're going to begin signing in with the credentials provided to us in our trial account. Now, once inside, we're going to navigate on the left-hand side, go down to under services into our compute console. And inside our compute console, we're going to go under identity and down to compartments. And here we're going to create a new compartment to isolate resources that we'll use throughout our workshop today. Now notice our new compartment was created, and you're going to want to go down and hit the copy button to copy the OCI ID for later use. Now we're going to go out into our desktop here and open a new terminal window. And inside the terminal window, we're going to make a directory called /.oci and generate public and private keys that we will then use to connect from our workshop image into the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. Last but not least, we're going to copy our public key using this cat command. We'll go back out to the console, go under Identity and Users, and we'll, on the right-hand side, view the user detail, and then we will add a new public key and paste in what we just copied with the cat command. There we go. We have a new public key created, and you can see the fingerprint there. All right, now we're going to go out to our website, and we're going to actually get the OCI libraries for Terraform and download them for Linux directly from GitHub. So we'll just click on the Linux tar.gz, and we'll save this file to our local machine. Now, one of the things you want to check on your side is where it's saved. So you can see we saved to home downloads. So just remember that directory, because your next command will be to go out to that directory and then extract and install the OCI libraries for Terraform. Now we're going to clone from GitHub the Terraform Kubernetes installer to this same directory. And we'll initialize Terraform. You should see this at the bottom of the screen that Terraform has been successfully initialized. We'll clear our screen and go back out, and we'll issue a Terraform-version command. And what you should see here is not only your version of Terraform, but also that the provider.oci has been installed. Now, one of the things that's probably the most difficult thing is the first time you use Terraform is setting up the configuration file, your terraform.tfvars file. So we're actually going to go in, and over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to grab the various tenancy IDs and the various fields from the console, the OCI console, and where to paste those into this configuration file. You are going to have to add in a tag here that's called region. Scroll up to the top and you can see that our trial is running in US Ashburn 1. Now you will want to check that your private key path is to where you installed your keys earlier. In our case, it's fairly simple, the .oci directory, but if you install them in a different path, make sure you link to that path. Now, for the sake of space, we're going to actually lower our K8, our master shape for Kubernetes down to 1. And we're going to set our load balancer to 400. Now we're going to come out to our client window. We're going to issue a Terraform-plan command. This will take a second to run, but at the end you should see a plan with 46 items to add to OCI. And next you'll issue a Terraform apply to install Kubernetes into OCI. It'll prompt you to make sure you want to do this. Just simply type in yes and watch this run. This will take a few minutes to complete. When you are completed, you should see a series of green text that looks something like this. Now we're going to go back to our compute dashboard, and we're actually going to look at our compartment. So we'll go out to our the compartment we created earlier, and here we can see our Kubernetes cluster is up and running. Now back at the command line, we're just going to set some bash profile information for our install for kubectl, so that we don't have to enter it in every single time. And we're going to go ahead and issue a kubectl-proxy command that'll start up the administration control for Kubernetes that we'll use a little bit later. After that, we're going to go out to GitHub and create a new file inside of our Twitter feed. This file will actually be our kubernetes.yaml file, and we do provide the information here in our documentation to paste in. And once you paste it in, simply hit commit. Next, we can go down to our worker.yaml file, and we're going to hit edit and paste in some additional information to tell Worker what to do and how to deploy this to the cluster. If we go to Worker, we can see our commits executing, the push release taking place, and if we click into our workflow tab now, we need to add a new pipeline step. This pipeline step will say, hey, we want to on a commit deploy to our Kubernetes cluster. So we can set that. And make sure that our new step does deploy to the cluster. Now, in order to make this work correctly, we're going to have to grab a couple variables from Terraform and import them into Worker. Our first one here is the API admin token. So we'll grab that. Next, we're going to go back to our environment tab in Worker and create a new environment variable, Kubernetes token, and paste in the result that we just got from the command line. We'll go back to our command line once again and grab another variable to set. This time we're going to grab the Kubernetes master IP address and port. click Add. And we're going to go back to the last run of this particular workflow, click on Push Release, and tell it to go ahead and manually deploy to the cluster. Now you may remember a little bit earlier we issued a kubectl proxy command to start the admin console. What we're going to do now is show you that admin console that we initiated earlier. So if we paste in this URL address, we will go to our admin console. We can click into our Twitter feed. We can see that it's up and running. And next we're going to click on exec, so we can actually see the command line interface to the running instance and issue a curl command to get back the JSON for our static tweets. Now we're going to go back to GitHub one more time, and we're going to click into the Alpha Office product catalog, Kubernetes.yaml file. And this time we're going to save this locally. And then we're going to go back into our Kubernetes master, and instead of deploying it through Wercker, we're actually going to go ahead and click Create at the top, or upload our YAML file. And in a minute or two, our product catalog front end will be up and running. You should see the deployment taking place and the pods that are being created. I did fast forward this for the sake of time, but once created, you'll see green checks next to each of these items. And you can actually scroll into the services option down at the bottom, wait for it to complete, and then you can drill into it, and we can see our external endpoint there. If we click on that external endpoint, there we have our product catalog. And that concludes Lab 200.